Oh my God, hi. You guys are like, Avi, where are you? Oh my gosh. You're 15 minutes late, Avi. Where are you? Hi, guys. How are y'all doing? It's been a little bit since we've been live. I'm in a temporary space, so apologies for the extra sound and the emptiness in the air. But we are going to get this filled up and back to regular scheduled programming. How are you guys doing? I'm so excited to take a break from talking about YSL, that trial, and get back to some regular scheduled programming. You guys know that on this channel, we have been thoroughly exploring the Diddy shenanigans, which we're going to dive back into today. Little bit of Diddy stuff, but we've also been really exploring a little bit deeper in the Keefe D Tupac situation. Now, I dropped a video earlier today, so if you're like, no, I need my YSL fixed, I need it. So you want your YSL fixed, go check it out. We dropped a video earlier today. My other editor is going to have something for you guys tomorrow. And so if you're a team YSL and you want to see what's going on, we have plenty of content coming out for you. If you're like, let's take a break from it for a minute, then we will do that. Because what are we taking a break from? What are we looking at? Before we were talking about YSL on this channel, we were talking about one person only, who was alleged to have taken a trip to the great country of Cape Verde, just on the west coast of Africa. People are like, "Oh, you're not black enough." Country that you're from is like just a smidge over to the left of Africa. That's cool. You're not African enough. It's okay. So what we're gonna do is shout out to the clowns. Shout out to the clowns for a second. Are you afraid of clowns, guys? And I can't play all of the music because, like, with the Diddy stuff, you have to be careful. He has recently scrubbed his Instagram over the weekend, so we know it's getting real. While we were talking about this YSL stuff, one of the interesting things that happened last week, I think it was 4 days ago, July 3rd, is Diddy got hit with a 10th lawsuit. And guess what? Your girl has a full transcript to that 10th lawsuit, okay? We're going to read it. But one of the things that Diddy forgot is while he has cleaned out his Instagram and there are no more posts, I think he forgot about his YouTube account, which is where I found this lovely footage here. It's still up. Isn't this beautiful? Are you guys afraid of clowns? Let me know if you're afraid of clowns. You know, so that's done. What we will do is show you guys this. There's so many lawsuits, guys. So many lawsuits with Diddy. And guess what? We're not even going to waste time. There's another one. There is another one. And it is this. Guess what it comes with? It comes with a trigger warning. Could we have guessed that? This is in the United States District Court, Southern District of New York, and it is a complaint against Sean Diddy Combs, Bad Boy, Sean John Clothing, Combs Global Enterprises, Tamiko Thomas. Look at this one. Look at this one. Pay attention. Jacob the Jeweler, Vibe Magazine, Penske Media Corporation, aka PMC. There's some John and Jane Does, and there are some organizational Joes or Does. This one is serious, guys. And I seriously mean it. Like this, like look at the style of the case. Look at how many people they are suing in this one. And this was not filed by Tyrone Blackburn. We're looking at a cool 114 pages that I'm not going to read for you guys because do you want to know why? The plaintiff in this case, the one person, Adria English, I think she was in adult entertainment. I don't want to misquote. We're going to read her background in a second. She is suing Diddy for guess how many claims? 30? No. You wouldn't be correct. 32? No, you wouldn't be correct. 33? No, you still wouldn't be correct. 34? No. Oh my God, you're still off. 35 claims. So we're going to jump into all of that and see what her claims are. This also follows, and I'll take this lawsuit down for a second. This also follows some pretty serious information on Diddy. A federal grand jury in New York has been convened. So this is about to start going down. Now, Diddy was seen for the first time on Friday in a few weeks, getting on a jet and flying off somewhere. Okay. Well, a lot of people have been talking about him. You know what else is happening? The Keefe D. Tupac murder trial is happening. We've all been over here looking at what's happening with YSL, and that's fine. We've been looking at that trial, but there are other really important trials happening at the same time. In the hip hop space, this is what we're looking at right now. But the other big trial that's happening is Alec Baldwin, Rust. Lead and I were just talking about that like 2-3 days ago. We're like, hey, we need a game plan for Monday. We need to game plan this. What else is happening? Because here's the thing. Here's the reality about the YSL trial that a lot of people don't know is until we get this judge to rule on something, we're kind of in a standstill. So you guys know us. We move on. We get stuff done. And we start looking at some of the other popular cases that you guys have been asking us about. So shout out to all the people that were like, hey, AV, check this out. Hey, AV, look at this one. Hey, AV, look at that one. Like those emails, although some of them have been unanswered, they haven't been forgotten. So we are now going to start shifting focus a little bit because it could be some time before we get news on the other one. So we're going to transition over here for a little bit. And I hope you guys don't mind. So are we ready to look at the debauchery? And before we do, let's see who we have in the building and go from there. I want to go to Dianara. Hits me with the first super of the night and says the Diddy verdict has already been reached and the trial is just a formality, allegedly. Yeah, thank you so much, Dee. And this is big, guys. This is in front of the Southern District of New York. This is the same district that just tried President Donald Trump for the hush money case. Okay? So, this is a pretty serious district to take on this particular case. It's Diddy. It's Diddy. I'm not going to do the Harlem Shake in my shoulders right now, in the nude shoulders. We're not going to do that. But, think about it. It's Diddy. We saw what happened with Cassie. We saw 9, count them, 9 previous lawsuits. And the one that I'm going to show you guys was filed last week. This is the 10th lawsuit. In addition to, hey, Diddy, clean up your social media. You forgot about YouTube, apparently. And that clown video, did you guys know? Everybody thought that clown video was new. It's 5 years old on his YouTube channel. Anyway, shout out to Nurse Janice in the UK, who was first. She's entered the chat. How are you doing, Nurse Janice? She says, oh my God, AV, it will be 9:30 in the UK, so you can watch Ann. She likes to tune in early. She's across the pond, and I know she's 6 hours ahead, so we want to make sure that she's in here. Shout out to Sabrina, who says, AV, I need to tell you something. Yeah, all my contact stuff is in the description box. Shout out to Eric, who says, you do a great job streaming. Thank you. I try my best. All right, y'all, let's jump in. We're not even going to waste time. We're going to go straight to this document. I'm going to start going through it with you. This is the latest Diddy lawsuit. Okay. I do need to say that there are some unsavory photos in here. Tyrone did not write this lawsuit. So I'm going to go through the lawsuit, but just know like there's pictures, there's going to be graphic details on what Diddy did with these people, women, men, all of it. It's in here. Lawsuit number 10. Right now, federal investigation, grand jury, house got raided by the feds, Department of Homeland Security. It's serious. This is his 10th lawsuit in like 7-8 months. So let's read what this person has to say. Let's get started. So we talked about all of that. And look at what we have here, ladies and gentlemen. It is a trigger warning. This document contains highly graphic information of a sexual nature, including SA. So if you're sensitive to that, you might want to dip out of the episode right now. Who is our plaintiff? Her name is Adria English. Okay, and she's going to be referred to in this document as Miss English. By and through her attorneys, hereby alleges in a verse of the defendants Sean Combs, Diddy, Puff Daddy, Puffy, Brother Love, Bad Boy Entertainment Holdings, Inc., BBE, Sean John Clothing, Combs Global Enterprises, Tamiko Thomas, Jacob the Jeweler, Vibe Magazine, Penske Media Corporation, John and Jane Does 1 through 10, 10 of them, and organizational Does 1 through 10. What I can tell you off the top and just looking at this is whoever helped her create this document, the lawyers that did this, is they are coming for blood. They're coming for everybody. Do you know that just right there, that's like 30 defendants? James 1 through 10, Jane Does 1 through 10, organizational Does 1 through 10. 1 through 10, that's 20. That's just people we don't know about or names that they can't name, right? That's 1 through 20. So we already have 20 defendants there. We're using his organizations, all of his pseudonyms, all of that. So we have at least 30 defendants. And what I will also tell you, I'm not going to read through the counts, maybe fast, but they have at least 33 counts in this document. Y'all thought Tyrone was getting busy? This is a lawyer in Miami that wrote this one. So let's see what they have to say. Okay. So we'll start here. It says on November 16th, November 16th, 23, Kathy filed a 35-page lawsuit in which she exposed defendant Diddy of subjecting her to nearly a decade of physical, sexual, and emotional abuse, punctuated by the R word, trafficking, and being forced to engage in drug-fueled, non-consensual encounters with other men. Ordinarily, when a lawsuit such as Ms. Ventura filed that involved events that took place long ago, witnesses are few and far between, and evidence is hard to muster. Not so for the claims brought against defendant Combs. Within minutes of filing, Ms. Ventura's claims were confirmed by various witnesses, including a rival musician whose car defendant Combs blew up. We all know he's talking about Kid Cudi right there. Like they're talking about Kid Cudi. Like Diddy blew up somebody's car, the whole joint, his car. Oh my God. Diddy blew up someone's vehicle. Sorry, I had to do that. That was a little loud. So we know Diddy's crazy. And that's definitely Kid Cudi that we're talking about right there. So let's go back in. According to this, it says, including a rival musician whose car defendant Combs blew up. Can't believe that's an illegal document. Various individuals who observed defendant Combs' behavior and Miss Ventura, and a video released by CNN. he beat Miss Ventura. Oh, you guys remember the video just a few weeks ago showing defendant Combs physically abusing, battering, and assaulting Miss Ventura. Since Miss Ventura's brave decision to file a lawsuit against defendant Combs has amalgamated numerous lawsuits across the country for the same conduct alleged by Cassie. Days later, more lawsuits were filed against Combs, one being Plaintiff, I think it's Joy Dickerson Neal, alleging that defendant Combs drugged and assaulted her and while she was a college student. And the other lawsuit currently being refiled in New Jersey. Oh, currently being refiled. Accused Miss Combs and singer Aaron Hall of forcing the plaintiff and another unidentified woman into non-consensual intercourse. Okay, that's interesting. So what we learned here, guys, and this is just me being a law nerd and showing y'all, they say that it's currently being refiled. So that case was filed in a state, but sometimes if you file it in the wrong state, if something happens, you may need to refile your lawsuit. And I'm just zooming out a little bit so y'all can keep up with me here. So it looks like we've learned that as of last week. Okay, this is filed July 3rd. At the same time, a fourth lawsuit was filed. This one against Diddy, his companies, defendant Harvey Pierre, longtime president of Bad Boy Holdings. The suit alleges that Mr. Pierre used his position of power at Bad Boy to groom and essay his former assistant, and that Bad Boy looked the other way at the time. There's a footnote there. I'll go down to it. The fifth lawsuit, they just naming all the lawsuits. Number 5, this was filed against Diddy, includes allegations brought by a Doe plaintiff are just as egregious than those brought by his previous victims, including that plaintiff Doe was trafficked and gained by Diddy and various other individuals. There is a footnote there. I want to highlight 6 for a second, guys, because remember, the Department of Homeland Security raided Diddy's homes, both in Miami and in LA at the same damn time, simultaneously at the same time. So it was well thought out, and it did come from the field office in New York. So whatever is transpiring right now, we saw that in March. Shout out to Cape Verde. You guys were like, hey, he's going to your homeland. He's on a plane. He's fleeing to Cape Verde. And I was like, it's fake news. It's not happening. It's not happening. Diddy's not coming to Cape Verde. We thought he was, but he totally wasn't. So we learned that that was fake news. While the raids were taking place, his children were at the home. They did get arrested. His drug mule was arrested at the same Miami airport that he was at, Diddy. So we know that this is serious if you get like a regular raid on the state level or even on a local level, like let's say it's Boston Police or, Massachusetts State Police or the FBI field office in Massachusetts, that's one thing. But when the Department of Homeland Security starts to raid your stuff, something is happening there. Something serious is happening. But let's go back in, because we're only on lawsuit number 5. And I think this is the point where the raid happened, is when the 5th lawsuit was bought, because we see the word trafficking and the gang R. Okay. Going into lawsuit number 6, this was filed against Diddy and various defendants by Rodney Jones, Little Rod, including allegations of SA, sex work, sex and drugs trafficking, and ongoing criminal enterprise and corrupt organization, and similar to the claims plaintiffs files in this instant action. So this plaintiff is actually really identifying with Little Rod. I think Little Rod had some Rico stuff that was attached to this too with Diddy. And Little Rod, I want you to remember, we just went through what 5 lawsuits. All of those people that filed those lawsuits were women. This is the first man that's filed a lawsuit against Diddy for some of the things that have happened while he worked for Diddy. I think it was a very brief time, 2-3 years, you know, something along those lines. Let's keep going and see what else it says. The 7th lawsuit was filed against Diddy and defendant's son, Christian Combs, from a Grace Mark Hay. And I'm sorry, guys, people are gonna freaking roast me in the comments because they absolutely take joy in that. You said this word wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. You're copying the lead attorney. Oh my God. I don't know what's wrong with you. I hate you. That's usually what my comment sections feel like, aside from the wonderful people that are actually here supporting. And shout out to the wonderful people. If y'all could hit the like button, that'd be awesome. But yeah, there are a lot of people that are like, you pronounce words wrong. You're imperfect. Anywho, plaintiff in that suit alleges that she was essayed and physically harmed by the defendants of the defendant's son and that of defendant's Combs aided and abetted his son's tortious conduct. I did read that lawsuit. We covered that lawsuit here on this channel in about April. I read it. That was Grace's lawsuit. Grace was suing both Diddy and his son, Christian, because his son, Christian Dior, like that's his name, Christian Dior Combs, they had a yacht. And Christian had a thing for one of the waitresses, and Christian was on some drugs and did a few things and was a little bit too handsy with the waitress. And handsy is an understatement. She filed that lawsuit, and that was in April. That's lawsuit number 6, guys. We're in July. Let's keep going because again, there's more. Hold on to your seat. Oh, this is lawsuit 7. Let's go to 8. Lawsuit 8 was filed against Diddy by the model Crystal McKinney. This is Bedazzled Jeans, I guess that's her name, guys. She was drugged and essayed by defendant Combs. The allegations in McKinney's complaint echo similar claims filed by the plaintiff in the instant action. Here's the thing about McKinney. She kept the pants. The guy's jizz are on the pants. So like, you know, Diddy's jizz is on there. There's DNA evidence. She kept it. She preserved it. She put it in a plastic wrap. And after she put it in a plastic wrap, like she never got them dry cleaned. They were just there. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, she preserved evidence. It was hanging up in the closet. I mean, the weird thing, and we talked about this, me and Lee, is like if you get married after that happens and you got somebody's jizz on these pants and they're hanging up in the closet, and your husband, I don't know, maybe he put something next to those pants and didn't really know the story behind those pants. And that's not taking away from the fact that SA happens. But she held on to the pants, and she held on to the pants for like 20 years. That happened. It went down. It did. It did. I'm giving you guys the facts as I read them. Okay, now we go from McKinney. We go to the 9th lawsuit filed against Diddy by April Lampros. So we covered that one. In this suit, Lampros alleges the defendant of battery, assault, negligent infliction of emotional distress, and violation of the victim's gender-motivated violence protection law. Again, that's specific to New York. Eerily similar to the claims made by the plaintiff therein. Prior to any of these cases above being filed, Diddy was named as a defendant in a civil assault lawsuit in Florida involving singer Trey Songz. Oh my God, did you guys know the Trey Songz? Oh, they put a picture of Trey in here. Did you guys know that Trey Songz was implicated in this? Did you guys know? Let me come to the comments. Can you put a 1 in the chat if you knew that Trey Songz, what does he call himself? Trigger? Did Trey Songz, did you guys know? Like, put a 1 in the chat if you knew, put a 2 if this is news to you. This came out last week. We were all over here like, what's happening with Young Thug? Like, we were all over here. You knew, Vanessa? Maria's like, hell no. Oh my God, they got Trigger. Jamisa, Drew Beats, all of you guys are like, okay, Betty. Shout out to Betty Spaghetti. Oh my God. I had no idea that Trey Songz was in this. And guys, like, I like to read these law documents with you, raw dog. So we just read them together. I'm going to bring that up. So in lawsuit number 9, Trey Songz was named. And one that I'm about to read you, lawsuit number 10, Jacob the Jeweler was named. So let's see what they have to say here. This is getting real. It's getting real. Somebody said, who that? Brian, you don't know who Trey Songz is? Stop it, Brian. Okay, let's go back in. Oh, I can't believe Trigger Trey. Is that what they used to call him? Trigger Trey's in here. So, defendant Combs is also implicated in the lawsuit filed in California against R&B singer Chris Brown. Oh! Chris Brown is in this for essay that took place on a yacht anchored at Diddy's Star Island in Miami. Where have we been? Now, my girl was just at a Chris Brown concert. I have to call her. She just went to a Chris Brown concert 2 weeks ago. I'm about to be like, oh my, look at this mugshot in here. Oh my God. Not mugshot, but he's in a jail jumpsuit. These people are not playing with these lawsuits anymore. Okay, let's read what paragraph 3 says about Chris Brown. Chris Brown has been, Kia, girl, we have been focused on the YSL trial. Like, I'm like, oh my God. This is what focus in another place does. Now we're coming back over here. Anyway, Cryonet is just like, Lead went over that already. I mean, this is my first time seeing it, so that's my reaction to it. Shout out to Lead. He's always supporting. But let's go back to this one and go from there. All right. So Chris Brown was also referenced in the lawsuit between Rodney Jones and P. Diddy, implicating Mr. Brown was in Mr. Combs' LA home consorting with underage girls and SA workers. Now, Cryonetter, here's the other thing. Like, even though Lead went over it with this new document that was filed last week, this is where it's starting to get dirty with lawyers. We never are instructed to put pictures in lawsuits. Let's scroll up. Y'all see Trey Songz here? Scroll down. Now we see Chris Brown. Now they're captivating the reader for us to, dear reader. Now we are captivated to seeing what's going on. You guys see the legal game here. This is not typically how legal documents are transcribed. You are not supposed to include pictures. So we saw that with Tyrone Blackburn for a little bit, and that was cool. But like, now you're starting to see pictures as far as a narrative. I would have a problem with this if I was a defense attorney on the other side. Like, why does this need to be in here? It's a complaint. You're telling us what your legal grievances are, but now you're showing us. And here's the thing, guys, I actually had to go through this document because the other part is getting so bad with them including pictures. So bad. You know, I found porn in this document. Oh, corn. I can't say it online. I saw inappropriate photos that would get me demonetized if I was reading the legal document. So I'm going to skip over page 17 because there's buns, there's other things that you're not going to be able to see. But let's go back in because this is just interesting. So we're talking about Chris Brown. We're talking about Trey Songz. And let's keep going down here. It says, this is now the 10th lawsuit filed against Diddy since November of 2023. Just as the allegations filed by the other 9 defendants, Plaintiff English's claims are just as egregious. Okay. These are due to these numerous lawsuits filed against Diddy alleging the same and similar acts. There is now a growing awareness that Diddy was engaging in more sinister acts than previously known, including abuse and trafficking, specifically from 2004 to 2019. Plaintiff was trafficked by Diddy, Thomas, and Abrove. I want to go to those names up top. Who is she referring to? Thomas, Tamiko Thomas. That's one person. Jacob Abrove. This is Jacob the jeweler. So Jacob the jeweler is now entering the chat in this lawsuit. All right. So I think this is the first time we've seen his name in lawsuit number 10. We're going to go into the specifics to see how that happened. But you see the names of Trey Songz, Chris Brown, all of that fun stuff. Let's see exactly how this goes down here. So additionally, because Diddy's relationship with Defend Vibe, due to their conspiracy and the trafficking enterprise, defendants knew that they could publish plaintiff's likeness without her consent and fear of recourse and choose plaintiff's likeness to use without permission in an effort to continue the defendant's trafficking enterprise for financial benefit. All that really means is likely she signed a photo release form or a video release form saying that they can share her pictures without her consent or fear of recourse. They can use her likeness without her permission in an effort. They added that part in an effort to continue the defendant's trafficking enterprise, so to support Diddy. But I have a feeling, because the lawyers included this up front in the document, that she did sign some sort of consent form. Does that make anything she's saying wrong? No, it just seems like there is a consent form. That's just my feeling because they put it up front here. Therefore, plaintiff brings claims pursuant to the New York Civil Rights Law, Section 50 and 51, and United States Code 15, Section 1125. A plaintiff can support her allegations with this complaint and has lived her adult life with memories of being trapped in a cycle of trafficking she never asked to be a part of and was chosen because Diddy knew that he can groom her. For years, the plaintiff has been affected by Diddy's actions and has suffered extreme emotional distress, impacting nearly every aspect of her life and personal relationships. Given all the brave individuals who have come forward against Diddy, plaintiff is now doing the same. And I'm sorry, guys, it's a little cut off, so I'm going to put this down to 180 for Zoom. Okay, there we go. Plaintiff brings this action seeking injunctive, declaratory, and monetary relief against the defendants in violation of the Victims of Gender-Motivated Violence Protection Law, Gender-Motivated Violence Act, and NYC. I think I told you guys that that is particular to New York at this time. Right now, jurisdiction and venue is proper. She's filing this lawsuit in New York. And it also says uniquely here at 21, as of the date of this filing, defendants Combs, Jacob, BBE, SJC, Vibe, PMC, and organizational does have consistently and purposely availed themselves and the privilege of conducting activities in New York. Because that's the thing, guys. If your business is in a particular state, you need to make sure, and we learned this in civil procedure, that if you have like jurisdiction or personal jurisdiction over a defendant, you need to have contacts and availments in that particular state. You need to operate in that state if you are a business in order for people to hail you into court. You can't just say, okay, Vibe Magazine, you're headquartered in LA, but you have contacts and you do logistics and things of the like in New York. So if we want to sue you in the state of New York, we can bring you into court. It's a dirty game, guys, when it comes to how you have jurisdiction over defendants. Businesses really need to pay attention to this because most businesses register themselves in the state of Delaware for tax reasons, but where you do business is really important. Where you in the age of the internet too. Am I doing business in the state of Massachusetts and in the state of Georgia? Right? These are legal questions. So anyway, going back in, don't want to nerd out too much. We are invoking the benefits and protections of New York law. In return of these benefits and protections, defendants must submit to the burdens of litigations in the state of New York. This litigation arises from or relates to the tortious actions of defendants Combs, yada, 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 all these other people. We're going to skip over jurisdiction because it seems like jurisdiction is proper compared to what they're saying in the complaint. Now they talk about procedural requirements. They're using the law here, the NYC Victims of Gender Motivated Violence Protection Act. I'm not going to read that full law to you guys. We want to go to the T. Let's go to the parties. Defendant Sean Combs. So this is what I mean. You see this picture right here, guys? It's a picture of Cassie and Diddy. Now, normally, and any other lawyer, because there's a lot of lawyers that watch me, I did not learn to write legal documents and include clip art and pictures and all this shit in it. But apparently now you can. Now you can add pictures, like it's just different. This is not typically customary. So I just want you guys to see that. Even with what you see below, like we have lines 34, 35, 36, they'll probably talk about Cassie 1 or 2 times. I did start to see this with the Cassie complaint. Was it in the Cassie? I think it was in Little Rod's complaint. That's when we saw pictures for the first time. But it's not normal, and that's what I want to point out to you guys. 34. Defendant Combs retains residences in both Florida and California, and upon information and belief is a citizen of the state of California. So that's where Diddy actually lives. That's where he does the most business. That's where he pays the most taxes. Shocker, but in the state of California. At all relevant times, Diddy was a citizen and resident of the state of New York. Defendant Diddy is a rapper and record executive properly known by his stage name of Puff Daddy, Puffy, Puff, P. Diddy, Diddy, Brother Love, or Love. Defendant Combs rose to prominence in the music and entertainment industry over the decades and is regularly referred to as a hip-hop mogul. Defendant Combs was first accused of acts described in this complaint by his longtime paramour and former BBE artist, Bad Boy Entertainment artist Cassie Ventura, as pictured above on November 16, 2023. Defendant Combs is a Grammy-awarded musician, rapper, and producer. Diddy founded co-defendants Bad Boy Entertainment, Sean John Clothing, and CGE. Defendant Diddy has signed through BBE some of his biggest stars, including Rick Ross, Machine Gun Kelly, Biggie, New Edition, Mace, Pitbull, Little John, Fabulous, French Montana, and groups like Danity Kane, 112, and Total, just to name a few. In 2008, Diddy was the first male rapper to get a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Did you guys know that? Diddy founded Bad Boy Records in 1992, and the company has sold over 500 million records and produced 38 platinum albums and won multiple Grammy Awards, including the official website of Combs Global. I think they wrote this to say he's got money. Let's come get it. In 2022, Forbes estimated that Diddy was one of the wealthiest hip-hop artists in America, and that his net worth was over $1 billion with a B. Upon information and belief, defendant Diddy has a long history of committing acts against women and men, both of age and underage, as documented and publicly available in over 9 lawsuits across the country, as well as extensive media coverage on lawsuits and the allegations made therein. Look at this, guys. Remember how I told you about clip art? We can now put logos in legal documents. Isn't this fun? Oh, joy. Let's keep going. Bad Boy Entertainment is a domestic business corporation licensed to do business in New York and is headquartered in New York, and this is their address. Bad Boy is a domestic business licensed to do business in New York since 1992. Bad Boy is a music, media, and entertainment company founded by Diddy. Bad Boy is incorporated and headquartered in New York. Why are they telling us all that, guys? They just want to say we have jurisdiction in New York over this business. Same thing here, Sean John. I'm guessing they're going to do the same thing, letting us know. Look, another defendant, Combs Global Enterprise. Same thing. They're doing the same thing, letting you know where they are. Defendant, Tamiko Thomas. Who is Tamiko? Here's a picture. So, Defendant Thomas, upon information and belief, is a citizen of New York. Defendant Thomas was an employee of Bad Boy Entertainment at all times. In her employment capacity, she was responsible for transporting and making payments to individuals like the plaintiff in furtherance of corrupt organizations of trafficking on behalf of Diddy and beneficiaries of the corrupt organization, including defendants Jacob, Vibe, and PMC. All right, so that is Miss Lady here, Tamiko Thomas. Apparently, she is involved because she paid this plaintiff in some sort of capacity, allegedly on behalf of Diddy and these companies. Here comes Jacob the jeweler. Here comes Jacob the jeweler. Upon information and belief, Jacob at all relevant times was a resident in the state of New York. Upon information and belief, he was a citizen of the state of New York, despite being born in Uzbekistan. Okay, so we know that he's not from here, but that is his country of descent. He was a beneficiary of the corrupt organization ran by Diddy, Bad Boy, Thomas, Vibe, and PMC, and was pictured with plaintiff above when he knowingly, here's where it gets real, guys. When he knowingly had intercourse with plaintiff, who was trafficked for that specific purpose. Defendant Jacob was sentenced, oh my God. Jacob the jeweler in 2008 was sentenced to 2.5 years in federal prison regarding a multi-state drug ring. He was fined $50,000 and had to forfeit $2 million to the U.S. government. Prior to being imprisoned, defendant Jacob frequented parties thrown by Diddy and where Bad Boy, where he knowingly participated in an illegal commodification of women via trafficking. Upon information and belief, defendant Jacob still runs a business, Jacob & Co., licensed to do business in New York with its headquarters located at 57th Street. All right. So that's Jacob the jeweler. Now we're going to talk about Vibe. She's naming all names. Let's talk about Vibe here. Upon information and belief, Vibe runs a magazine licensed to do business in New York with its headquarters on Fifth Avenue. Defendant Vibe has a long-going relationship with Diddy and all of the defendants in his enterprises, blah, blah, blah. She also states that they were corrupt and exploitive to the plaintiff and to benefit defendant Vibe and other members of the corrupt organization. Defendant Vibe's ongoing beneficial relationship with defendant Combs dates back as far as 1993. Wow.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
That's a long time. Defendant Vibe further injured plaintiff in an effort to further the corrupt organization when it published the plaintiff picture, which in the above picture without the plaintiff's notice or written consent. So she was in a picture and did not want to be there. Now, Penske Media Corporation, obviously for a fact, you can see that this Vox Media Corporation, it's hard, but like I'll read them to you. They have many companies under their belt. So Vox, The Cut, Vulture, Polygon, New York Magazine, like correspondences or companies like that. It looks like it's Medium. It looks like they are the parent company of Vibe. Upon information and belief, it's a Delaware. What I tell you guys about Delaware, it's a Delaware corporation with its headquarters in California. The defendant does not do business in New York. It does do business in New York through its ownership of the defendant Vibe magazine, and its distribution of several media outlets that are distributed, marketing, and consumed. All right, defendants John and Jane Doe. Whenever we see this in legal documents, guys, John and Jane Doe means that there are people that are involved in the lawsuit that they can't necessarily say who their names are yet. Typically, that will involve celebrities, other people that have shielded protections. And we've seen that with a lot of these Diddy lawsuits. You'll see Jane Doe, which means that it's a woman, so we know the gender, but we know that she's been involved in the lawsuit in some shape or form. That happens all the time. Now, what you're seeing in this lawsuit is we're also seeing corporation or organizational does. Whenever you see organizational does, that means somebody that works for a company that cannot necessarily be named. All right. Anyway, I'm going to skip that because it's basically saying all these people knew, they should have known, they had responsibility. I want to go to the T. Who are we talking about? We're talking about Adira English. She is a plaintiff. She is a person bringing this lawsuit. Plaintiff is an individual who is a citizen of the United States, and she lives in California. Plaintiff, at all relevant times of this action, resided and was domiciled in the state of New York. Ooh. It's going to get real, guys, and I do need to skip a page because there's some graphic materials. I'm going to stop sharing for a second. But let me just tell you about her. She resided in the state of New York at the time of this action. Prior to moving to New York, she participated as an actor in the adult film industry under the name of Unique. Plaintiff participated in approximately 8 adult films prior to moving to New York, which were done while Plaintiff was a teenager. Now I'm going to stop sharing. Plaintiff was coerced by a veteran corn star named Jake Steed into doing these films with the promise that they would never be viewed or circulated within the United States. Again, there's some nudity, guys, so I needed to take it down for a second. I'll keep reading it, and then after we get through these pages, I will bring it back up. Plaintiff moved to New York from Cali to evade the disappointment of her family when they discovered that she was acting in adult movies. As plaintiff was led to believe, the adult movies would only be seen and purchased abroad, therefore difficult to be viewed by those who knew her personally. Plaintiff moved to New York, destitute and homeless, with her then boyfriend, starving up and coming model Anthony Gallo. Oh, his name's in here. Okay, let me just make sure that, okay, this page is clean. Let me bring it back up. Sorry, like now I have to screen for like, inappropriate things. You never know. You never know. Anyway, here is the boyfriend. They didn't have a lot of money, but she and this guy moved to New York together. Okay, and he was an actor, I guess, at the time, Anthony Gallo. There's a picture of the two of them. While plaintiff's then boyfriend auditioned for modeling gigs and attended go-sees in New York, plaintiff began go-go dancing and performing at Larry Flint's Hustler Club on 51st Street in New York under the stage name of Sasha. There it is, Larry Flint's Hustler Club. On or about mid-2000, Mr. Gallo attended an audition for a Sean John modeling campaign in New York where Plaintiff accompanied him. During that audition, another model and Mr. Gallo were asked to perform fellatio on defendant Combs in order to book the modeling campaign. All right. There it is. Diddy allegedly asked this guy to go, to do this thing. He wanted him to go downtown for a modeling gig in 2004. This is the first time we have this in a legal document. Before, it's been like 10 lawsuits. All of them have been, allegations of men being involved with some of these parties. But maybe this is why Diddy last week cleaned up his whole Instagram, deleted everything. He didn't delete YouTube. You guys know I found that. But this is the first time that a man, shout out to Green Eggs, no him, a man is alleging this in a legal document. Like, I will say, Little Rod was like, oh, he touched me in inappropriate ways. Like, he's touching my backside. That was a little strange. He was running around naked. But this is the first one out of all 10 lawsuits where this is like dude on dude action. Okay? It's good. I mean, sorry. I mean, some guys are like, I'm out. I'm sorry, if I don't want to hear about it. Anyway, so going back, line 35, during that audition, another model, it doesn't say if that other model was male or female, and Mr. Gallo were asked to perform fellatio on Diddy in order to book the campaign. So Diddy's making people like, do this for me so you can get a job. Mr. Gallo refused, but was later reapproached by an employee, defendant Thomas, offering new terms. The terms being that Mr. Gallo could still work the Sean John campaign if he commanded that the plaintiff work with Diddy and Bad Boy's upcoming white party. So the guy is like, man, I'm not doing that. Diddy's bugging. And so an employee comes up to him and was just like, all right, well, listen, you want to work on the Sean John campaign, you can, but you and this girl, the plaintiff bringing this lawsuit, you and her need to come to this white party, okay? It's in the Hamptons. And she has to come as a go-go dancer. And she's well-known, and she's talented and highly sought-after dancer at the Larry Flint's Hustler Club. So Diddy knew who she was. She had a reputation. She was known. In an effort to assist Mr. Gallo's desire to become a model, she did it. No, she didn't. Plaintiff agreed to what she believed to be legitimate employment with Diddy and Bad Boy as entertainment as at the white parties in the Hamptons in New York and in Miami from 2004 to 2009. So she went to these parties for 5 years. Plaintiff did not agree to a lifetime of aftermath of being used as a sexual pawn for the pleasure and financial benefit of others. Oh my God. Are y'all ready to buckle in? I'm going to read a few supers to take a break. Before we go into the facts, I'm going to read a few supers to take a break. And again, I'm not blaming the victim. It seems like she's telling us the story of how she got involved in Diddy's space. But like, a guy is like, hey, he wants me to be involved in his campaign. He wants me to do this to him, and I'm not going to do it. But at the same time, the guy's like, but we can get these jobs if you do the all-white party. So let's see what the facts allege. And I'm being honest, guys, I have not read this legal document yet. So I'm reading it with you at the same time if you haven't seen it already. Let's go to some super. Shout out to D. I think I read this one, who says Diddy's verdict has already been reached and the trial is just a formality. Yeah, he's going to be in front of a grand jury, guys. So let's see what she has to say. But this lawsuit came out at the same time that the announcement came out that Diddy was going to be in that. Shout out to Betty Spaghetti with the 20. She says, the vibes, loving the lighting. Your audio sounds very, yeah, it sounds very good. Here's the thing. You know, I'm in an empty house right now. My stuff is being shipped up from Atlanta. So the grind doesn't stop. I'm here for you guys, and I want to make sure that we bring you guys the news as fast as possible, and we go from there. And yeah, it's a little dark in here. I got to get used to it. We've got some like lighting that's coming in, and you know, my bookcase is going to be back, all that fun stuff. But I just wanted to make sure that we can get started in this room. Shout out to Lakeisha with the 199. I think those are euros. Super sticker. Thank you so much, Lakeisha. Hope you're having a great day. Shout out to Betty, who's back with another 10, who says, gotta give another 10 just because of how you said my name. Have you been drinking a little bit? No, I have not. Honestly, I am a little sleepy. We just did a video earlier today and I've been studying this morning. So I'm a little slow with getting to things, but oh my God, she's just like, are you tipsy? No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Not on the platform. Shout out to D, who's back, who says pics in the legal filing's cool, right? Isn't it cool? Isn't it crazy, D? Thank you so much. And then shout out to Tashana with 499. She says, AV, been watching a while. Your commentary and reactions keep me coming back. Prayers for your future endeavors. Thank you so much, Tashana. All right, guys, that is our little super chat break. Let's go back into this document. All right, buckle up. Here we go. We are now going to look at this 10th lawsuit, the allegations within it, and let's go from there. All right, we are now on factual allegations when it comes to these white parties. All right, plaintiff's employment at defendant Combs' Labor Day white party, as agreed to between Mr. Gallo, defendant Thomas, defendant Combs, Sean John, and Bad Boy. Plaintiff began her employment at the ultra-exclusive and lavish Labor Day parties thrown by defendant Combs and Bad Boy called the White Party, and Mr. Gallo began his employment as a Sean John model. This is a terrible photograph that is stretched in this legal document. This is probably why we should not include that. Anyway, this looks like a picture of the male model that was included. 39. Defendant's first employment as a white party was summer 2004. Ooh, we have some buns. This is the plaintiff, I believe. There's the buns. It says 2004 guest strikes a pose. I don't want to show that for too long. Plaintiff believed this to be a legitimate employment opportunity. Plaintiff was picked up by defendant Thomas in a car driven by one of the defendant Does, owned either by Combs, Bad Boy, Sean John, CGE, or Organizational Doe, and transported by defendant Combs' estate to the Hamptons, which served as a venue for the Labor Day white party. When plaintiff arrived at defendant Combs' Hampton estates with defendant Thomas and other trafficked individuals, defendant Thomas brought them into a room where they changed into clothes provided by them. Plaintiff's outfit in the above picture was provided to her as a uniform, and she was led to believe that she was in an employment capacity, right? Plaintiff was required to wear the clothing as part of her employment. So that was from the magazine, guys. That was her uniform, and that's what she needed to wear for the entire time that she worked the party. Plaintiff was also provided a separate room from the party, away from where the partygoers congregated, and that was used by plaintiff and other employees as a break room to take respite during the party, as plaintiff was there in an employment capacity. Plaintiff was encouraged directly by Thomas to provide lap dances and be flirtatious with the guests at the white party. Plaintiff was also instructed and directed by Diddy as to which guests Plaintiff should focus her attention on and interact with to ensure his guests were having a great time. Plaintiff was strictly instructed by Diddy and Thomas on which bottles of alcohol and champagne female employees were to exclusively drink from, and also required Plaintiff to take narcotics offered by a white party guest. Despite being forced to drink copious amounts of alcohol and consume illicit narcotics, the encounters Plaintiff was forced to endure were so excruciating that Plaintiff remembers them as they still haunt her to this day. Plaintiff was forced to consume liquor and illicit narcotics as part of her employment at the White Party. Upon information and belief, defendant Combs laced the liquor with ecstasy, which is why Plaintiff was provided strict rules on which bottle to consume from. Plaintiff performed the expectations of Diddy, was personally thanked for her obedience by Diddy, and was subsequently invited for future employment at the White Parties. Plaintiff was paid in cash at the end of the night, typically between 4 and 6 a.m. once the party had concluded. Plaintiff was paid by the defendant Thomas, who was given the money from Diddy. The first White Party in 2004 had no sinister intent or requirements for physical contact and seemed to be legitimate employment opportunity. So when Plaintiff was offered an employment in the preceding years at the Labor Day White Party, she accepted the employment opportunity. What do we see there in 103? In 103, you see that this woman worked the White Party. It was crazy. You know, she's told to do drugs. She was told to do some of these things. She did them. It's a Diddy party. We all know what happens. Like, could probably lead to a freak off or whatever the case may be. But what you're seeing in this paragraph that I just read is that, remember, she worked from 2004 all the way to 2009. That's 5 years going to these white parties. When you do one, I'm sure you have an understanding of what happens after the fact and what could happen at all of them. She had a choice to make. If it's an employment opportunity, you don't have to go back. She chose to go back. The plot thickens. Let's see what happens now. So, Plaintiff was employed as an entertainment at subsequent white parties in the Hamptons. Plaintiff was always transported to the Hamptons by way of car service provided by Diddy, his organizations, with a driver who was also an employee of Diddy, his organizations, or the Does, and with defendant Thomas also being present as the liaison and coordinator between the employees and Diddy. Plaintiff would use numbers provided to contact either both Diddy himself or Thomas to arrange transportation to the White Party. She did this every year. This included using the telephone and text messaging services to confirm the date, time, and location of pickup. Defendant Thomas would then arrive at the location provided by the plaintiff at the agreed date and time in a chauffeur-driven vehicle provided or under the control of Diddy, which would include defendant Thomas, a member of defendant Combs' security team, and other employees who were hired as entertainment for the party. Plaintiff was always provided wardrobe by defendant Thomas and Combs and was provided a break room while attending the white parties. Thomas and Diddy groomed the plaintiff into trafficking over time. Around the third white party, defendants Thomas and Diddy demanded the plaintiff began engaging in intercourse with guests as they had learned about her past in adult entertainment and used it forcefully to coerce her into sex work for the benefit of Thomas and Diddy and their beneficiaries. During this white party, plaintiff was provided a black dress to wear by defendants Thomas and Diddy, when previously plaintiff was provided white clothing like the other guests in the theme of the party. Upon information and belief, plaintiff believed she was required to wear a black dress to the white party to denote her capacity there as an employee, but more sinisterly as a sex worker. One beneficiary is defendant Jacob, who plaintiff was demanded by defendant Combs to engage in intercourse with during the white party. Plaintiff, fearing not only for her safety, but her and her then boyfriend's job security, did as instructed and went with defendant Jacob, where she engaged in forced intercourse with Jacob at the demand and behest of Diddy. Plaintiff knew refusing Diddy's demands was not an option, and to do so would be at her and Mr. Gallio's detriment. So let's break that down. She's still with her boyfriend at the time. They're both, I don't know if the boyfriend was working party number 3. Yes, Beverly, Jacob the jeweler. She was wearing black while everyone else was wearing white. This is year 3. This is their 3rd year doing this party. She is now with Jacob the jeweler at this point. But Gigi says Diddy is always having a white party. I mean, apparently he was. He was always having a white party. But yeah, amazing disgraces. Some boyfriend, like, yeah, this is crazy. So let's go back in and see how the story continues on, because I just think it's strange that her boyfriend's there. And even if, what is he doing? If he's modeling at this point, what are you doing? Like, your girlfriend is getting it popping with Jacob the jeweler, and I don't know. Let me not. Okay, let's keep reading. Here's a picture. Her and the boyfriend. Oh my God, is that from a party? That's them. That's the plaintiff, and that's her boyfriend. Plaintiff was coerced by Diddy into consuming copious amounts of allegedly laced alcohol prior to being coerced and forced into having intercourse with defendant Jacob. Plaintiff is pictured with defendant Jacob after the assault, as the plaintiff was still on her role of employment at the white party. What is that? Oh, that's her wearing the black dress. And that's Jacob the jeweler wearing white. And apparently this is after it went down. Interesting. What do you guys think of the picture? Plaintiff received an additional $1,000 in cash on top of what she had received as payment at the prior 2 white parties from defendant Thomas at the end of the night. At the end of the night, Diddy personally congratulated plaintiff for following his directives with defendant Jacob and for a job well done. Plaintiff has personally witnessed Diddy, Thomas, and Jacob solicit and ingest narcotics and engage in illicit sex acts. Plaintiff was also employed at the white parties that commenced at defendant's Miami Star Island residence. During these white party employments, plaintiff's travel was arranged by defendant Thomas. Upon arrival at Fort Lauderdale, first of all, if you are traveling to Miami and you go to Fort Lauderdale, a lot of people do this. I think people do it because the flights are cheaper. But like, if you fly directly into Miami, it is a little bit more expensive. But like, if Star Island's like right there, doesn't this man have a jet? Okay, let's keep going. A car service owned and operated by either Combs, Bad Boys, Sean John, CGE, or Organizational Does would retrieve her, defendant Thomas, and other individuals from the airport and transport them to Diddy's residence on Star Island. Defendant Thomas was to Diddy's defendant Thomas, this is the woman, was to defendant Combs as Ghislaine Maxwell was to Jeffrey Epstein. Oh. Without defendant Thomas, a woman using her inherent goodwill as a woman to gain the trust of another woman, coordinating and acting as an avatar for Diddy, Diddy would be unable to execute his corrupt sex trafficking organization. Plaintiff is unable to recall details from the Miami white parties due to the increased demand that plaintiff engaged in illicit narcotics and alcohol while employed by Diddy. Defendants Thomas and Diddy passed off plaintiff to other defendants outside of Jacob the jeweler, as named as defendant Doe's, to be essayed as a part of their ongoing corrupt trafficking organization. Upon information and belief, defendant Combs had hidden cameras in every room of his homes in the Hamptons in New York and Star Island in Miami. Who's on those tapes, y'all? Everybody is talking about these tapes. It's the Hamptons. It's rich people. It's Star Island. It's rich people. It's LA. It's rich people. This is like 10th lawsuit. And people have been talking about how hidden cameras have been in all of these. Shout out to Pablo. All of these houses. So Diddy has dirt on everybody. All of them. All of them. Marley says everybody and their mama. Everybody who's who is in the industry. It's a lot. It's a lot. Okay, so let's finish this up. But like, this is how crazy this lawsuit gets, guys. It's so crazy. Okay, let's go back and let me make myself small. All right, let's keep going. And then shout out to Nikia. I'm gonna take you down for a second, sis. Upon information and belief, defendant Doe's, who were individuals, defendants Thomas and Combs passed off plaintiff to be assaulted, were filmed by Diddy's security cameras, assaulting the plaintiff while plaintiff was unconscious during the white parties in both New York and Florida. Upon information and belief, these individuals and plaintiff were recorded without their consent. Guys, what is she saying there? She in this lawsuit is not just exposing herself. She's saying that the other people that were at these parties were filmed without their consent. Oh, upon information and belief, this treasure trove of evidence in the Diddy possession. Oh my God, this treasure trove of evidence in Diddy's possession may either still be in Diddy's possession or in the possession of the FBI, as the FBI executed a warrant and raided Diddy's residences in April of 2024. Defendant Combs makes the promise of career advancement by the way of music artist to the plaintiff. All right, this doesn't seem new for Diddy, but let's keep going. Diddy is very forceful, demanding, and does not take no for an answer, and would often threaten to inflict bodily harm or terminate plaintiff or her then boyfriend, Mr. Gallo's, employment and blackball them from the industry if plaintiff did not comply with his demands. As defendant Diddy acted and was viewed in such a way where Gallo and plaintiff believed that he had the power where the defendant Combs' threats were credible. Defendant Combs used his power influence to threaten and intimidate plaintiff to continue to participating in Diddy's corrupt drug and sex trafficking organization. Defendant Combs, in an effort to continue to silence plaintiff and keep her and his organization, offered to help her enter the music business. as a part of an all-female music group. Are we going to talk about Danity Kane, y'all? I hope not. I hope not. That's her and the other women that were going to be in this music group. Oh my God. Okay, this looks like an Instagram post. It's very blurry. It looks like she blacked out. They see, that's the thing. Like, they're using these pictures and these legal documents, but they're blurring out what it said. It says, my girl group when I worked for Diddy. Plaintiff knew Diddy's prowess in the music industry and knew he had the power to help her advance in her music career. Plaintiff believed that Diddy would fulfill these promises to help her career, just as he helped Plaintiff's then boyfriend's modeling career after he wanted sloppy top. Plaintiff, after having been professionally exposed to the music industry side of defendant's empire, grew more aware of the true nature of her employment at the white parties. She saw them as grotesque, inexcusable, exploitive, and criminal. Plaintiff's only way to escape Diddy was to return to California, which she did in 2009. So this is 5 years altogether going to these white parties, allegedly, wanting to be a part of this girl group, all that stuff. On information and belief and retaliation for the plaintiff's escape, defendant Combs had plaintiff's then boyfriend, Mr. Gallo, blackballed from the modeling industry and had all of Gallo's campaigns with Sean John removed. So Diddy essentially fired him. Upon information and belief and retaliation for the plaintiff's escape, defendant Combs had plaintiff blackballed from the music industry. So Diddy was just like, I'm getting rid of both of you guys. Now, next section. Defendant Combs' corrupt drug trafficking organization has caused plaintiff long-time harm. Plaintiff became severely depressed and began to blame herself for being trafficked and sabotaging her own career. After being trafficked and abused, it led her into a tailspin of anxiety and depression. In or about 2010, she was hospitalized for mental illness as a direct cause of being trafficked by the defendants. Everywhere she looked, she was reminded of being trafficked by Diddy, and he is an inescapable presence in the music, television, and film. In the ensuing years, plaintiff has experienced alcohol and drug addiction as she attempted to cope with the emotional trauma of being assaulted and trafficked. She has also experienced intimacy issues. She struggles to maintain emotional relationships with men. She was recently married. However, her fears of marriage may fall apart due to her mental breakdowns precipitated by memories of the assault and trafficking. That sucks. 145 bothers me. I mean, it is possible, but like, you can't enjoy what you have now because of something from your past. Let that sit. I'm not taking a side. I'm just saying it. Defendant Combs has altered the trajectory of her career, denying her a successful and lucrative career in the music industry. She suffers from depression, anxiety, body image issues, feeling unworthy, intimacy issues, being trafficked, all from Diddy. She's a woman of faith, and when she saw the news coverage of countless lawsuits initiated by brave other individuals against Diddy, she knew she had a moral obligation to speak up. Plaintiff feared further violence and retaliation from Diddy in filing the lawsuit, but ultimately decided that it was imperative to speak her truth with the hopes that no other individual would have to endure the egregious and heinous treatment she has. Plaintiff seeks justice for herself and any other Diddy victims. Okay, now they're talking about a law here. There's a Trafficking and Victims Protection Act, and we're going to focus on New York and Florida for a second. So looking at those laws, because when you sue somebody, you have to go either for the companies that were employing people that did this to you or the people themselves. So it looks like she went through all of that. I'm skimming the rest of this, guys, because like I said, it's 114 pages, but really the first 30 is where we see the picture and where we see the full story of what went down, right? Claims related to plaintiff's picture and likeness. So it looks like her picture that was taken during one of the white parties she's having a problem with She doesn't know what the picture was being taken for, what it was to be used for, nor did she have consent. Now, remember what I said. I thought the way that this lawsuit was framed out, typically you need to have somebody's consent if you're going to use their picture for something. And those are, you know, when you go to an event or something, you sign like a photo authorization or a photo release form. It looks like she did not sign one, and this was put in Vibe. And that's likely why she is suing Vibe in this, because she was at one of Diddy's parties and was just like, hey, we're going to go after everyone. She's never entered any agreement with the defendant to license her picture. So she's telling us she's never signed a document saying that she's releasing her picture. Vibe and PMC intentionally mislabeled her as a guest at the party when she was really working at the party. She was in an employment role at the party, things of the like, and now she's exposing the illegal and criminal enterprise. Skipping ahead, this looks like this was the Vibe magazine issue that this was included in. There she is. There's the buns. I mean, I would probably be mad too, but I mean, she's posing. So, and here's the thing. I don't want to do that to her. So I'm just going to scroll up a little bit. I just want you guys to see the dates. This looks like it was an issue talking about all the white parties. She was in 2004. Notice that this one says 2006. Notice that this one says 2006. So whenever there are these white parties, it looks like this issue was a recap of all of the white parties. And she didn't know her picture was included. So all of that is there. I'm going to skip over this part because it's images, likeness, and things of the like. Yeah, it's kind of repetitive. They should have known. All right, now I'm going to quickly scroll through this, but you guys are going to be like shocked. This is the longest in my life. This is the longest in a complaint. This is the most amount of counts I've ever seen against a single person, right? First cause of action. Conduct and participate in a Rico enterprise through a pattern of racketeering violation of the Rico Act, right? Look at all that. That's one. I'm gonna skip it because we don't have time. There's some more pictures. All of that, it proves Rico, all of it. White heat, all of that. Look at all these rappers, entertainers, all of these people. Is that Irv Gotti? All of these people that went to these parties. All of those people, right? All of it is landing under Rico. It's an enterprise. Diddy was doing this. He was doing this through all types of people. Look at all the magazine pictures. Oh, that has Kimora Lee Simmons in it. Oh my God. There's The Rock. There's the dude. There's the dude that was her boyfriend. Oh my God. What's that? Sean John campaign featuring Defendant Combs and Justin Combs. Childhood photos of Defendant Combs used to humanize him in furtherance of his conspiracy. Oh, man. Okay. There's so many pictures in here. That's why this is so long. 114 pages. This is just count one. She's trying to show how this is a Rico case. How this is a Rico. How all of it came together. What is this with 2 million? Okay. I mean, there's the party part. There's the trafficking part. There's 38 counts, guys. Oh, there's text messages. Plaintiff communicated with defendants Diddy and Thomas by telephone. Diddy communicated by a California number ending in 1496. However, a search for that number leads to a New York-based artist called Paloma Bailey as a registered owner. Why or how a number registered to Miss Bailey is being used by Diddy is another conspiracy for another time. The number communicated with Defendant Thomas is seemingly still registered to Defendant Thomas. Paloma's phone number. Tamika's phone number. Wow. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, guys, this is sad. It's very sad. I can't believe how long this is. We're on page 63. Just the Rico part itself, I believe, is about 15 pages. Now we get to the second cause of action. Can you believe that? That was like 15 pages. She goes in for essay and harassment. This is all against Diddy. Third, she goes in for essay and harassment. She's going against Jacob the jeweler. She's going to essay to defendants Joe's. This is all the people that couldn't be named. Fifth, she goes against the NYC Victims of Gender Motivated Violence Protection Act against all defendants. She's using that law, that statute. She's saying how that applies here. And all the corporations that she's suing. Sixth, premises liability committed by defendant Jacob. How? Plaintiff was trafficked by Jacob at the white party in the Hamptons. Defendant Combs was present. If it's premises liability, whose house was it? Plaintiff was legally on the premises as an employee of Diddy, Bad Boy Sean John at CGE. Defendant Jacob was legally on the premises. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. She's trying to blame Diddy for bringing the person that hurt her onto the premises, so premises liability. Seventh cause of action, Trafficking and Victims Protections Act against everyone. Yeah, is this going to be more of this? But what's the point? Why are we talking about this today? We're talking about it because it's lawsuit number 10, and it is imminent at this point. And I've checked the Southern District of New York's court records. It has been confirmed that a grand jury is coming together to see if we can get a possible indictment against one Sean P. Diddy Combs. Now, we looked at the clown thing. I talked to you guys about a few things, right? Because, we love the art of dialogue over here. And the stuff that is just mounting against Diddy is just crazy. So I can't really talk about much more of it without going to Brother Gene Deal. I mean, I just love hearing Gene because Gene is just spilling all of the tea. And what does he say in this video? He talks about our dear Kim Porter. So let's check out what Gene Deal has to say. This is new. It says Kim Porter was off as she had bruises and her laptop and her phone were missing the day of that she was found. So let's check out Gene and see what he has to say here.
Right. I respect it. Kim Porter, you was telling me before this interview that Dallas Austin, his daughter, was at her house the day she died.
Yeah, I heard that the paperclip party broke that story because it was told to them by Kim's Porter father that is in the police report. That this is in the police report, that Dallas Austin's daughter, who was a friend of Kim's, left her house at 8 o'clock. That Kim had made a call, 911 call at 2:15 that morning. And I don't know what happened in the 911 call or what was said, but they said that Dallas Austin's daughter, according to Kim's father, was the woman that left her house at 8:15. So she was the last person, according to her, to see Kim alive. And that was broken by the paperclip party because they had a conversation with Kim's Porter father. That's crazy. Now, what was Kim's state? Why did, and in the report, didn't it say she had blood on the pillow and bruises or something like that?
Nope.
The case needs to be reopened, man.
Oh, it might be already.
The case really needs to be reopened.
I think it is, Gene.
Because if that girl was there and she said that Kim was all right, what happened from 8 to 11? And why did all Kim's stuff come up missing?
I ain't know any of that, man. I never heard of that. So
That's
when they
crazy.
found her, she had bruises and a lot of her stuff was missing.
Bro, it's a lot of suspect things going on. First and foremost, in our day and time, other than a house key, a woman gonna keep her phone and you know, she got a lot of different purses, but everybody always grab their phone. Why come right till today, right now, nobody knows what Kim Porter phone is? And they know they had iPhones. Why have nobody went to the cloud and got the text messages and the things off her phone? Because everything that came in that phone is text, and you know your iPhone find my phone.
Yeah, but
Nobody tried to find the phone.
I don't know, Uncle Gene.
I would love for her son, who has all the rights, to go to and get all the stuff out the clouds. Her last text, who she calling, who she spoke to, who called her, where was the last place her phone was at before it was destroyed and cut off. It would tell you that too.
You personally, what do you think happened to Kim Porter?
Yeah.
I'm not a medical, nor I was an investigator on that case. I don't believe that an individual with her, I want to say, financial status would lay up in the house and die of pneumonia without a doctor or some kind of medical person responsible.
I mean, I'm watching you guys in the chat. You're like, hey, Gene is just talking too much. What is going on here? What is happening with Gene? He has been talking for a really long time on this, about this particular matter. He's been talking about Kim. He's been talking about Diddy smacking his mama. But like, I see some of you guys, like, is he an enabler for allowing some of this stuff to go down? You know, like Cassie was involved, Kim Porter was involved, these 9 women with lawsuits, 1 man with a lawsuit, this being in front of a grand jury. This is crazy. This is crazy, guys. I look at it from a legal standpoint. If the Department of Homeland Security is involved, shout out to Dylan. If the Department of Homeland Security is involved, and what do? Yes, and you guys always like to correct me. Didn't say he was there with Cassie, but he had a lot to say about the Cassie matter. And that's the thing with Gene. You know, he's been on the Art of Dialogue talking about this a lot. The other thing that's kind of resurfaced that I do want to show you guys is when it comes to the Diddy matter, there's a lot of people coming out right now talking about things. Shine is doing his thing. He's back in Belize, and you know, he did the time. He hasn't talked about it. He's trying to be respectful about it. But one thing that we also see is a lot of people coming out and talking about the Shine incident that involved the club shooting with J-Lo. It was a really long time ago, but it has been mentioned in a lot of these lawsuits. Because what happens is, Diddy may very well be a monster. I doubt the Department of Homeland Security wouldn't be involved if there wasn't some credible information there. I think some of the stuff is credible. That's my opinion. But a story that has gone unnoticed for a really long time is a woman that actually is like, Diddy shot me in the face. He shot me in the face, and she's doing interviews now. Here's one of her on the Art of Dialogue. Let's go.
And I want to ask you, because I know you revealed that you got bullet fragments still in your face. Do you deal with anything else outside of that?
So by the grace of God, God left me whole, and he left me physically and aesthetically whole. And I always thought about this over the years, like, what is it about me? I even went through survivor's guilt because it's all, I would see stories after the fact about somebody who, tripped off the sidewalk and fell and died. And I'm like, how could somebody just trip and die? And I got shot in my face and I'm still here. There was a nasty case of survivor's guilt that I endured for quite a number of years. Not because I didn't want to be here. It's because I felt like, well, it becomes that questioning that you ask, well, why me? What's so special about me? You understand? You understand what I'm saying? And I truly believe that God have left me of sound mind and body and aesthetically whole so that for a time such as this. So when I come and I spread my message and I speak truth to power, no one is distracted by a disfigurement. God left me whole for his purpose. I'm eternally grateful for that. But the aftermath has not been easy. I've had a whole lot of medical issues. I still have 9 bullet fragments in my face. Now, I've seen you people in the audience, she got shot 9 times. Ugh. Like, come on, comprehension. 9 bullet fragments. I got shot with a hollow point gun, a hollow point bullet, excuse me. The hollow point bullet shatters on impact. It tears up and it spreads through your body. I still have 9 fragments in and around my face. The majority of them are right here. I have some here, and one went through. I have a traumatic brain injury because it scarred my cerebral cortex, and I have a seizure disorder because of it.
Oh my God.
I had swelling of the brain, severe migraines, all types of stuff. It affected, I have a tooth I lost on this side because a bullet fragment was leaning on my nerve, and it was causing me so much incredible pain. They had to go in and do what's called a pulpectomy, where they take all of the nerve out of your tooth. And once you take the nerve out of a tooth, you are deconstructing the structure of the tooth, and the tooth becomes weak, and the tooth broke. All of these things I've had to deal with. This is 24 years later. That tooth just broke a few years ago. Your gums are sensitive. I still have bullet fragments here.
Jeez.
Lead does not belong in the body. You don't believe me? Look back in history when little kids used to eat paint chips containing lead and they died because lead is toxic to your human body. But yet for the last 24 years, I've had lead bullet fragments in my face. Just like Julius Jones, the other gentleman who got shot, he still has a bullet in his back. Like, people need to have some sort of respect and empathy, if nothing else. If nothing else. We didn't ask for this. We didn't do anything to deserve this. Like I said, I was an innocent bystander. What did I do to deserve this? And so, yes, the aftermath has been horrific because outside of all of the physical things, I would have seizures. Sometimes I could have 20 seizures a day. One day, my son, he's a grown man now, but when he was a teenager, he came home from school, all jolly, in a good mood, found me on the bed, stuck in a seizure, contorting, and my daughter, which was an infant, on the bed, trying to get the bottle in her mouth. Just laying there without no care. I had been in a seizure. I don't know how long that seizure took, but I was seizing terribly. You know what my teenage son did? Because no boy wants to come home and find his mother in a seizure and the baby out there struggling to eat her bottle. He punched a hole in the wall, injured his hand because he was devastated. Like, all of these things. People don't think about all these things. I left my kids over my grandmother's house for the holiday. I was a fully intact mommy. There have been times where, because of all of the medication I was under, I was lethargic. I was not myself. Do they know the effect of seizure medication? You're not out here sitting in the stands at the football game cheering for your kids. I was lethargic, and it wasn't just seizure medication. It was a bunch of medicine. And that's one thing I will say about the medical industry. They have no compulsion to put you on a bunch of medicine. All these rappers with their lean and all this stuff, I had that medication. It's disgusting. I couldn't even drink it. It is disgusting. So the fact that they've taken this thing and made it sport is crazy. It is, you will gag and spit all of that up. Yet they're drinking this like it's nothing. I had to allow myself to suffer the pain because I couldn't get that stuff down my throat. I minded my business. I was an innocent bystander. Why should my life be destroyed because somebody with the ego problem wanted to shoot a gun into a club?
Yeah.
And I've had to deal with a lot since then. I've had to deal with a whole ton of stuff. I've had to deal with them harassing me for 20 something years. Throughout it wasn't 24 years straight, but it would come and go. But now that this whole thing has, risen back up, I have a lot of harassment that I deal with. I even made a little video after I had done another podcast. Oh my God. Well, I had done the TikTok, and then I went on a podcast, and I couldn't even go get gas. All of my cards would kept decline, every one.
What?
How does that anomaly occur? Just because they have wealth and access to power and tentacles that stretch all through society. They can do what they want to you. The powers that be. They can do what they want to you if they so choose. And they're connected to enough people that can make your life a hell. Trust me, I've been there. I've walked through the fire, but guess what? No matter what they do, I'm a child of God. I didn't walk through the fire. I do not smell like smoke. I don't smell like smoke. So I always tell people, when you send your minions to come for me, send your best and brightest. Not these little lollygagging dilly-dallies that you be sending. Send your best and brightest. Because I'm God's child. He watches over his children and his fools. And I don't know which one I am, but thank you, Father God.
There we go. Oh my gosh, guys. I mean, again, lawsuit number 10. The Tupac case I've been covering on this channel for 2 years. That's why I've been diving into this Diddy stuff, because Diddy's name is coming into the Tupac trial. You know who they want on the witness stand for the Tupac trial? Keefe D. Keefe D, the shooter, the alleged. Well, we know that Orlando Anderson did it. Allegedly, Keefe D was paid by Diddy $1 million to take out Suge and Pac, and were successful in taking out Tupac. Well, that trial is happening too. So the whole time we are sitting here so enamored by the YSL trial, there's other big things happening in the hip hop industry right now that are just like, pay attention. Let's not forget about what's going on over here. This man's house got raided by the Department of Homeland Security. Doesn't happen for a reason. But this is the 10th lawsuit. And particularly what I want you to take away from it is that fact that showed that even this person said, along with other celebrities, he has those cameras in all of the houses. Who does he have on camera? Who's on the cameras? It's crazy. It's crazy. So, we are taking a break with the YSL thing. We dropped a video earlier today. I have another video coming for you guys tomorrow on that. Top 10 things that we learned from the transcript. So that's going to be coming out as well. And then we're waiting to get back to court. But in the meantime, in between time, we will be covering a lot of high profile hip hop related cases to see what's going on. All of you guys, some of you guys have been talking about the Alex Baldwin thing too. So we'll be jumping on that. Let me just make sure I caught up on super chats. I think I've gotten just about everyone. I remember Tashana. Shout out to Mike and Dan. One of my favorite people. He drops off $25. He says, I'm here for the Legal Insights Fellowship and the buns. Listen, Mike knows. I can't wait to meet with you, brother. He's one of my moderators, somebody that's super important to me in the community. Thank you so much, Mike and 10. So happy to see you in here tonight. Shout out to Bobby W with $1.99. He says, are you going to join Kayla's tonight at 7 p.m.? Yeah, she sent me a DM. I haven't had a chance to respond to it, but I've got a lot of other previously planned engagements, so we'll see, Bobby. But thank you so much for the reminder. I appreciate that. Shout out to Michelle with a 5. She says, AV, love your commentary, and I'm noticing a pattern of similarity in these lawsuits. Still waiting on that flight log from the Epstein Lolita Express girl. Me too. I cannot wait to see it. I cannot wait to see it. But thank you so much, Michelle. You know, you're another one of my favorites. Good to have you in here tonight. Shout out to Cat 9 Williams with the $20 who says, thank you for the break from YSL. Yeah, it's too much. You guys can't get enough of it, but it's too much. And it's one of those things where it's just like we're at a standstill in the case right now where we can analyze it to hell. But at the end of the day, we're waiting for a decision from one person, and that person's a judge. That person's a female judge. That person gave the state a deadline tomorrow. So it's likely that we will probably get a state document tomorrow that we will look at from a legal lens. I'm looking forward to that. And hopefully we'll have that for you guys. Shout out to Dylan. Thank you so much, Dylan, with $4.99, who says, AV, you're under arrest for being way too fine. Thank you so much, Dylan. I appreciate that. Super funny. And thank you for dropping in and dropping the super. And whoa, look at this. I got a stream sponsor. Shout out to Thinking from Texas, Whitney. Wow, Whitney, thank you so much. She drops $9.99. And guys, I hate to end it on this note when folks bless me like this. Whitney, thank you. This is very, very generous of you. And I don't see you on my side too often, so it's good to have you over here. Thank you so much for your generosity. If you guys could do me a huge favor and type in Thinking for, just type in Whitney. Her username is super long, but if you guys can type in Whitney, that would be fantastic. And you know what? I'll stick around for about 10 minutes, Whitney. Thank you so much. You've just extended this for everyone. I will do this. I will drop the link for anyone that wants to come up and talk a little bit about this particular case. I have been covering the Diddy thing for a little while now. Again, it's a nice shift away from the YSL stuff. I know you guys want to talk about the YSL stuff, but sometimes it's good to take a break from what is happening in popular. So I'm going to go ahead and drop a link here. If y'all want to come up and let me know what your thoughts are on all things Diddy, you are more than welcome to do that. Thank you so much. One rule, need to make sure that you're cammed up, need to make sure that your microphone works, all of those things, and I will bring you up. Whitney, thank you so much for that. Really, really appreciate it. And yeah, you know, this is, it's a tough case. If we start to think about how many lives Diddy has impacted for the negative, it's not good. Like, you know, this stems from beyond New York. So many people that live in the New York tri-state area have, they've known about it for a really long time. You know, I have not. I live in Boston. I'm from Boston, but it's one of those things where I've learned that this stuff has been, it's been going on for like 20, 30 years. And like the whole thing with blowing up Kid Cudi's car, like if you're physically blowing up somebody's car, it's crazy. It's crazy. So Whitney, thank you so much for the super. And let me go ahead and update you in the banner here for being the stream sponsor. Make sure I give you your flowers. And Whitney, you're in the South. Actually, no, you're in Texas. You're in Texas. And it's so good to see you on these parts. I wonder what the weather is like over there. Whitney drops 100 on me. Thank you so much, Whitney. I just went ahead and updated the banner. Let's see who else we have in the building. Shout out to Anything But the Norm. Thank you so much. She drops $9.99. She says, great job. Don't worry about what anyone else says. Trolls are going to be trolls. Girl, oh my God. I dropped, because I've been doing YouTube consultations for like 2 years, but apparently like lately, you know, I've seen a little bit of growth. Up and I was like, hey, you know, I'm helping people out. Some dude was like, you're too small, or why are you doing that? It's just like, bro, you really don't know what I do for a living. You don't know that I worked for one of the nation's top 4 banks and used to advise CEOs on how to get ready for Capitol Hill conversations. You don't know that, but that's okay. You know, like people are just always negative. So it's really nice to see the love from you guys here, especially throughout the move and everything that I'm doing to get this new studio up and running. It's good to see the love you know, because you know what's crazy, guys? You know, a lot of that negativity came from men, like almost all of it. I was like, okay, all right, dude. You know, all good. Shout out to Game of Tyrone, one of my favorite people. Game of Tyrone says, Sunday shenanigans. Game of Tyrone's has been rocking with me for evs. He's been rocking with me forever. I love your name, by the way. Love Game of Thrones. Have you guys seen House of the Dragon? It's been interesting. It's been interesting. All right. Well, listen, guys, I see a few people in the back. I'm going to bring them up. Let's go with ladies first. So I'm going to bring up Tashana. Tashana, how are you doing?
Hey, AV. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Let me say this. You are automatically just awesome. I absolutely
Thank you.
commentary. I watch you and been watching for quite some time. I've never come on and never really gave, but I was sitting here watching. One of the things I wanted to kind of add into all of this is that I'm a licensed therapist by trade.
Oh,
and
good.
so
Yeah.
when you were talking about this particular victim, and kind of her navigating through it, and we were talking about kind of later on and how things happen, is that also remembering for everybody that trauma, the body keeps score of trauma. So when she's talking about the fact of her being in a relationship and even now it impacting her, is reminding yourselves that trauma stores itself inside of the body. And so long after we're done with it, the body remembers smells, taste.
It does.
Words.
I've heard that from a few therapists before. You're spot on.
Absolutely. And you do have to retrain the brain to not respond to those types of triggers. So not saying whether or not this is valid or not in regards to her claims, and the amount of time that it's gone on. I understand.
Yeah, 5 years. And she had a boyfriend, you know?
She had a whole boyfriend that helped her to stay involved in this foolishness.
Yeah.
So that understanding, but I do understand, the only thing that I was thinking of is that the coercion that I remember in the last case with the last young lady was talking about how she initially went in thinking it was one thing, and then the backlash that happened when she tried to get out.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if the 5 years was from trying to get out. Like the first time she didn't say a whole bunch of coercion was happening or anything like that. But then after that, whether or not there was threats of, if you try to get out, remember, I think the other young lady said the people were sent to her house. There were constant text messages. So I wonder if this young lady also has text messages that could prove whether or not she was coerced and what happened if she tried not to go back.
Yeah,
so it'll be interesting to see. But this is foolishness. I don't understand how this man, who has this much prestige, and not a lot of us as African Americans get a lot of opportunities to excel to this level, does not understand that you cannot move and act any old type of way and think that you're going to get away with it. It's unfortunate altogether, but I pray that the victims get justice, whoever they are. But yeah, he's a whole hot mess for this. I'm tired.
Can't disagree with you on that. Diddy's wildin'.
I'm tired of hearing about the next one and the next one and the next one. But thank you for your commentary and keep doing awesome things.
Yeah, thank you for coming up, Tashana. You're welcome up anytime. I appreciate your commentary.
Absolutely.
All right, take care. All right, guys, we're going to keep it going. I have one other person in the back, and it is a man this time. We're going to bring some masculinity up here. Shout out to Rich. Rich, how are you doing?
Hey, what's up, girl? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
You can hear me clear?
I can hear you. It sounds a little muffled, but I can hear you pretty good.
Yeah. I know your crowd is gonna. I know your crowd is gonna be not too happy with this, right? But a lot of these people that's talking about Puff, they're really wrong about Puff. And if they actually calling him Diddy, they really don't know much about Puff. Me and my brother, like my brother been with Puffy, Mona Scott, the track masters, everybody from the beginning, from the start, when Puff was in high school. We know Puff, you know what I'm saying? What everybody is saying about Puff, listen, a lot of your viewers is getting this thing really messed up. Even for Gene to sit around and say what Puff did because Puff didn't want to pay him is totally wrong. I went to the feds for 15 years. and then came out. And then Puff is now being chastised for shit I know for a fact. My brother went to his grave, who was with Puff every single day, worked in the office. Puff was the one that buried Flipper.
Let me ask you this, just because, like,
Yeah.
I think it's important to know, because we're saying like what we're seeing in popular media, right? We had the Department of Homeland Security raid. I want to start
Listen,
there. What's
yeah.
your opinion on that?
Listen, the Homeland Security, remember, I've been in the feds. I know. I'm in Canada now, right? I've been in the feds for 15 years. Trust me. Wyclef John, we discovered Wyclef John. I was the first one to give Wyclef John 100,000 to buy guitars. When Puffy needed money to do his parties in the early, I was one of the dudes who was helping out. Not saying was funding, but helping out. All these stuff that these people are saying about Puff is so wrong, because most of these things, okay, boyfriend and girlfriend have fights. Him and Cassie, remember, I was away, but my cousin always told me about what Puff went through with his relationships. But the man built his company on strength and love.
Did you see the
Our
Cassie
peer
video?
who was with him, his lawyers who was with him, some of the closest people that was with him in the beginning is not even talking up. But listen, Puff never did none of that stuff in the early.
So in the
Yo.
early times, but I just want to make sure, because I do need to run out of here soon. So I want to make sure we capture these two questions. The first question is, I really wanted to hear your opinion on the Homeland Security thing. Despite what they're investigating, are you saying that you don't think that he did those things?
No, sir. Puff ain't did none of that.
Okay.
Listen,
And
in
then,
the business, I've been in the business for, I'm actually 46. I've been in the business since 15 years old.
no, I
New York
respect that. I respect
and
that.
Rhode,
I respect
yeah,
that. I'm
New
from the
York
North
and
too.
Rhode
I
Island.
respect it.
I've been with Diddy. I've been with Wyclef. I've been with Mary J. Blige. I've been with Jodeci. These are all the people that my little brother walked into Puff. Puff signed these people with love. Flipper, ask anybody about Flipper and Diddy. Diddy buried my little brother.
Wow.
He paid for the funeral while I was locked up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I don't
listen,
discount your and I hate to cut you off just because I do need to run out, but I don't want to discount your experience. And here I like to have balanced opinions, and we welcome
yeah.
other
But
sides of the house. But the video, though, I need to pin you down, Rich. You
Cassie,
saw the
like
video.
I said Cassie may be exempt from that.
Okay.
Kim Porter, how could anybody say he killed Kim? Those are so wrong. Gene even saying that, man, is so disrespectful.
I'll give you that one. That's fair.
That's so disrespectful. Gene could never say he's seen Diddy do anything wrong to the youngin's moms and the other one, Justin's moms. Those is two women that Puff like literally love. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I'll let you go. I'll do your thing, but these people is just lying on this man, and somebody who was right there from the beginning. Only thing that separated me is the death of my brother, and what you would call it, me going away to the feds for a long, long time, right? I know everything. I know most things that these people don't ever know. Babe, several of them is damn lies. I'm gonna let you go on that. Just be careful and fact check these people. And always, if you want me, link me. My email is 416@gmail.com. My phone number is 416.
Oh, you don't have to say it on it. Don't say it on the internet.
1636.
He's still doing it.
These stuff needs facts. The Fed's gonna call me next. I don't care. They're not facts. Take care, babe. Thanks for giving me the time, though.
Yeah, no problem, Rich. Take care, Rich. All right, see you soon.
All right.
Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, we saw some different perspectives on things, right? That's all good. That is all good. I had to ask about the video because we've seen the Cassie Hotel video. We've seen the Cassie Hotel video, right? Wow. I do have someone else in the back. I'm gonna bring them up a little bit just to break this up a little bit. Shout out to Stefano. Hi, Stefano. How are you doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. How are you?
Okay, so we are talking Diddy today. We have some passionate responses here. I, again, want to go on these legal documents. There are about 10 of them so far, 10 lawsuits. We've been talking about this for a few months now. What is your opinion? What is your take on everything, all things happening with Diddy?
I mean, I got a few Diddy videos myself, so I understand what's going on currently and taking the bias out of it. My personal take on everything, just putting everything to the side, right?
Mhm.
The man has been doing things for a long time. You know what I mean? And eventually things happen. You get caught. We seen the video. We seen
Yes.
the video.
Yeah, it's hard to unsee the video. So it's
It's
kind of
very,
like,
very hard.
do I think all 10 of these lawsuits are absolutely credible
No.
with yeah, it's hard to say that because I do think that, almost 60% of them have mentioned some of the similar facts like, hey, we are speaking out now because other people are speaking out now. And, we want to galvanize the voice and, talk about all of our experiences individually. Is there something wrong with that? No, but it's hard because like, if we were to try to be fair here and go on the defense side of the house and we see like you're getting hammered by lawsuits, but also there's just some things where there are facts you can't refute. Like that video is non-refutable in my standpoint. It's not okay. She was not fighting back. She was not, it was just really egregious. And he came out and apologized, so it's kind of tough.
I mean, I've worked in the business too. I mean, this degree right here, music production. I can name off a list of big name artists I've worked with, but I'm in healthcare too. Now I'm on YouTube too, right? So
Mhm.
ins and out of the music industry is crazy. But we also know people who do things like this. I have friends that have tumultuous relationships like this that when I saw these things and I heard these things, I automatically knew they were true. Now, do I believe all of the lawsuits are valid? No, no. Like the girl who kept the jeans for 10 years, that's a little crazy.
That's a long time to keep some genes preserved.
But Cassie, he settled that like that, right? Because it was something there. The Kim Porter thing, I think it's something there, right? It's something that's lurking in the shadows that we don't know about. I just don't know about the validity of all of them. But
Mhm.
when it comes to this lady's story, her story is real, and you can hear her pain when you listen to the video and listen to her words because she has a reminder of it every day in her face. So we can't discredit that. And she's an eyewitness. She
Yeah,
was right there. So
that's right. That's right.
we're gonna say she's lying, and she's, you know, you know. So
Yeah,
we just have to think about it. That's all I'm saying.
that's right. That's right. Well, Stefano, listen, thank you for coming up. You can come up anytime. I appreciate you. Where could people find you, by the way?
You can find me on my YouTube channel, the Professional Nomad Podcast. We're already talking about a plethora of topics that are professional to not only men but women too, even though it's a men-centric channel. You can come over and just check out the content.
Wonderful. Awesome. Well, thank you, Stefano. I appreciate you. We'll talk soon. And thanks again for coming up.
All right, bye-bye.
All right. Well, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. I have been going for about 2 hours now. It's going to be a short one. I appreciate all the people that came up, gave their perspectives, shared the opinions that they had, us going through the legal document together and going from there. I appreciate all of y'all. Stay safe out there. I'll talk to y'all in the next one. Bye.